Welcome to World Mission Topics, Lesson 4. Today's topic is Dealing with Storms. The lesson text is coming out of Jonah chapter 1, verses 1 through 6, Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 40, Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 2, and then verse 8, Acts chapter 27, verses 9 through 44, Proverbs chapter 13, verse 12. The memory verse is Mark chapter 4, verse 39. And he arose and rebuked the wind and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. The key terms for today's lesson: storm, delay, and detour. Storm, a violent wind, a tempest, an extreme weather condition with very strong wind, heavy rain, and often thunder and lightning. Affliction, calamity, distress, adversity, violence, vehemence. Tumultuous force. Delay means to make someone or something late or slow. Detour, a long or roundabout route that is taken to avoid something or to visit somewhere along the way. Suggested emphasis. Purpose of storms in our lives. If you are not in a storm today, it is likely you were yesterday. And if not, there is probably one approaching in the near future. Just like the realm of nature, human experience can benefit from the rain, snow, wind, and subsequent calm of temporary storms. God's desire is not to destroy us in the storms of life, but to develop a deeper faith and fruitfulness for His glory. Emphasis 1. Jonah. Storms we create. Storm of correction. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish, so he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it, to go with them unto Tarshish, from the presence of the Lord. But the Lord sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken. Then the mariners were afraid, and cried every man unto his God, and cast forth the wares that were in the ship into the sea, to lighten it of them. But Jonah was gone down into the sides of the ship, and he lay and was fast asleep. So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call upon thy God, if so be that God will think upon us, that we perish not. And that's Jonah chapter 1, verses 2 through 6. Now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah's disobedience caused this storm. Sometimes God will send storms in our lives to discipline us or to wake us up. This storm wasn't like anything these sailors ever saw. Eventually, Jonah admitted that it was because of him. They threw him overboard, where waiting for him was a great fish to swallow him up. Let us avoid storms of correction, discipline. Obey God. Emphasis 2. Jesus. Storms that delay us. Get to the other side where your assignment awaits. And the same day when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass over unto the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship. And there were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full, and he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they awake him, and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And he arose and rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. Mark chapter 5, verse 2. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. For he said unto him, Come out of the man. thou unclean spirit. And that's Mark chapter 4, verses 35 to 39. There will be times when storms delay us. The enemy, Satan, will send types of storms or delays to prevent us from getting to ministry assignments. When this happens, walk in your authority and get to your assignment. There is someone or something waiting on the ministry God has given you to do. Emphasis 3. Euroclydon, getting to the final destination via a detour or storms, prepare us for greater days of ministry. Now, when much time was spent, and when sailing was now dangerous because the fast was now already past, Paul admonished them and said unto them, Sirs, I perceive that this voyage will be with hurt and much damage, not only of the lading and ship, but also of our lives. And that's Acts chapter 27, verse 9. And it came to pass that the father of Publius lay sick of a fever and of a bloody flux, to whom Paul entered in and prayed and laid his hands on him and healed him. We may be put in stormy positions because of others' decisions and poor judgment. And that's Acts chapter 28, verse 8. God will use us in these ministry moments like he did with Apostle Paul. He used him to comfort and to encourage the souls on the ship. And when they shipwrecked, he used Paul to heal others on the Isle of Melita. Stay focused. Let God use you in the storms. Even when there is a detour, you will get to Rome. Missions application questions. Number 1. Why did Jonah flee from the assignment God gave him? And what are some consequences of disobeying God? Number 2. Why do storms challenge our faith like the disciples' faith was challenged in the Bible passage in Mark 4? Question 3. How do you manage a situation like the Apostle Paul faced when they didn't heed his warning? He knew they would face a storm, yet he had no choice but to go. World Missions Prayer Points. Pray that even when we don't feel an assignment, that we obey God or suffer consequences. Pray that our faith be strengthened so that we can handle any storm that we face. Pray for the global missions team that even when faced with delays and detours, they reach their God-assigned destinations. The end. God bless you and thank you for joining me today.